What's good, everyone? My name is Casey Crutchfield, and welcome to episode 16 of Enjoy Life. Before we get started here today, please hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to leave a comment. Today, I have a great friend here with me. I want to say thank you again for reaching out to me, or actually the first person to actually kind of reach out to me about it.
You don't hear it?
I know it's kind of been some time in between, but like we said, life's busy, but my guest here today, Mr. Darius Coleman. How are you doing, man?
Good, brother. How you yourself, man?
Great, man. Can't complain. I'm about to start the school year, starting grad school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But tell me about you. What's been up with you?
Work, man. Work. That's about all I do, man. Work and my kids, and as I'm sure you've seen on social media, they're super close to each other. I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
How many boys and how many?
So there's my oldest is a girl named Violet. My middle is a boy, is Jet, and then my youngest, her name's Ivy Kate. It's a girl. So life doesn't stop me. But I'm glad I was finally able to come sit with you, man. I know we've been trying, but life.
Yeah, life. Like we say, it's busy.
It is.
But anyways, before like we get into everything, I'll just tell us about like your early upbringing, how was that?
So, man, I grew up in on a part of Thibodeau that most people kind of stay away. I was kind of on the outskirts of it. It was St. Bernard Street, but it's closer to I guess Midland. And it was coming up. You feel like back then I felt like, man, we have nothing, man. My mom worked day to day. There was barely any off days. There wasn't a whole bunch of family time. But back then as a kid, you're like, man, I don't have much. Like, I don't have all the cool games that everybody else has. I don't have this, I don't have that. But in all actuality, I grew up with my older brother. But when you get older and you start thinking about it, like, I really had everything. When you're younger, you think you want all this stuff, man. I want these cool games. I want to be inside playing the game. And now that I have kids, it's like they have the time of their lives, and they don't have a PlayStation. The only time they get an iPad is if we're going on a road trip somewhere.
Yeah.
But as a kid, that's stuff that you see other kids with, and you're like, man, I want that. Like, that would be fun for me. But the fun that I had was playing outside in 100-degree weather and go and drink out of the hose pipe. And people say that.
I don't think anything's wrong with it.
No, it's not, man. And listen, I got a story for you. So my wife's brother was playing basketball outside with his friends, and he came inside, and I was at the house at the time, and he fixed about 4 or 5 cups of water, ice water. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he goes, man, we thirsty. We just played a whole football game. I'm like, oh, the hose pipe's outside. He's like, no, man, we're not drinking out of it. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, listen, all you gotta do is let that hose pipe run for a little while, let the little hot water get out. And it's
maybe
all
5 seconds.
Yeah, it's good. But that was my childhood, man. My childhood was staying outside, staying active, doing activities that some kids nowadays kind of shy away from because it's so easily accessible to getting on a game or.
I wanted to ask, just because like you kind of brought it up, and we can get back on track too. But do you think like maybe it's too much nowadays? Like kids having like they're on their screen too much? Because I feel like I'm not gonna say like back then, but like they didn't have iPads and stuff like when I was young, and obviously when you were young. And so it's like you said, like play outside, kind of like do your own thing, use your imagination. But like nowadays, kids just have the screen. And so like, what do you think about that?
So I think it just depends on how the parents utilize the screens. I don't think the screens is necessarily a terrible thing, but excessive use of it, they just kind of get stuck into that and they don't want to go outside. I mean, I had an iPad for work which I never used. I was always on my laptop, so I kind of converted into my kid's iPad. Well,
Yeah.
I was giving it to my daughter, letting her watch her little shows every now and then. And like it got to a point where she would scream and cry because she wanted that iPad. And I'm like, you want it that bad? Like, that's not really that fun. Like, I want to sit here and watch shows all day. You have a backyard. Listen, we were at my in-laws' house. There's a backyard with a pool. You have all your toys. Like, why don't you want to do that? Instead, you rather sit on an iPad. So I guess to answer that question, I guess it truly just depends on how the parent utilizes it. You can't give them an iPad just to kind of shut them up a little bit so that you can go do your own thing. And then eventually you forget about them. Like kids will cherish, you know, and as I was saying earlier, they'll cherish, I guess, the time as they get older. Whereas if you let them sit on that iPad, eventually they'll realize like, man, mom really just used to let me sit on the iPad.
Yeah.
It goes back to what I was saying about, I thought I didn't have anything, but I had everything because I wasn't sitting on an iPad. And now I look back at it and I'm like, I really
didn't need it.
No, I didn't need that at all. I had a time of my life with my brother and playing. My cousins live right there in our backyard and friends would come ride their bikes over. Like
I feel like no one rides bikes anymore.
And I kind of get it because I feel like the world has kind of changed and things have been dangerous, but like there's just certain things that we didn't have to worry about back then because it wasn't happening as often as it happens now. So I kind of get it, but I mean, that was our thing, man. We call ourselves the biker boys. We'll go outside. We putting cans on our tires, stuff, and making big noise, and we're riding bikes, and you don't see that at all. But that was my fun growing up. We were fortunate enough to have a bike at least. And that's what we did. We played sports. We played throw up tackle is what we used to call it. You throw the ball in the air. Whoever catches it, you better run like hell because you're about to get killed. So that's what we did. And that was our childhood, man. Making memories like that. So,
and those are the ones that hit home. So,
and that's what's gotten us as close as we are today with my family. If I would have sat on an iPad, me and my older cousins and my younger cousin wouldn't be as close if that's all I did. But because it was wake up, brush your teeth, eat a little breakfast if we felt like it, and go knock on the other one's door and figure, hey, bro, what we doing today? And they'll do the same thing. Hey, what we doing today? And that's the bonds that we created bonds like that, not watching movies. Not that anything's wrong with that.
Yeah.
But that was my childhood, man.
It sounds like a great one. But kind of moving on, like towards high school and stuff. Did you? How many sports did you play in high school?
2. I played basketball and I ran track. Everybody asked, man, you didn't play football? No, I know it is too hot. In junior high, I did play football. I played to prove a point. One of my buddies was like, man, you're scared of football. You're scared of contact. You're not going to start and you just mad you wouldn't get in the game. So my 7th grade, I'm like, all right, I'll prove a point. I played. I started. And then 8th grade came around and they were like, oh, you playing again? I'm like, no, I think I'm not. I was fast. It was football. It was fine. That is one thing that I regret. I wish I would have kept playing. But I just felt like it wasn't for me and I wasn't crazy interested in it. I was more interested in basketball. Basketball was the love of my life, man. That's what I wanted to do.
Dreams.
Yeah, I did. And then, I stopped growing at 5'10", and I'm like, man, a point guard in the NBA is 6'4", like, and he dribbling the ball better than me. Like, the odds of me going to do any of that, I got to give it up, man. So, 2 sports, man.
And did y'all compete like in the playoffs a lot during your time?
So, my freshman and sophomore year, we got deep into the playoffs. We lost to, I believe it was Ouachita my freshman year. And then we lost to Slidell my sophomore year, and I'll never forget. It was my older cousin who played at LSU. It was his senior year. He walked off the court after we lost, and he gave me this little band. He always wore this arm band, and he handed it to me because it was his last game. And he's like, "It's your time now." I'm like, "All right." I'm a little emotional because we lost, but
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So, and then my junior year, I think we had to win one more game to make the playoffs, and we didn't. And my senior year, I believe we lost to, I want to say maybe South Lafourche. No, we did not lose to South Lafourche. South Lafourche was our last game in regular season, and we lost the first round of the playoffs, if I remember correctly. But I mean, it was fun. It was
something to do.
It was a great time, man. I love basketball. I love sports, man, and competing, and that was my thing. I always wanted to compete, but there were people that were under me that had hoop dreams and wanted to play, and I felt like he could go play. So I wasn't one that I was like, oh man, I gotta take all these shots and make sure I'm scoring all these points. I was giving him the ball, man. He knew that that's what he wanted to do, and he went do it. He went play at William Carey.
Okay.
And when he was like, man, look, that's what I want to do. I want to go play basketball. I'm like, all right, I know I'm done. Like, I don't have a dog in the fight, man. I was good. Don't get me wrong, but it's just eventually sometimes you have to let it go. It's harder for others to let it go. For me, it was like, what's my next move? I started thinking about the future. So it was like, get him the ball. He's going to score. He's going to get looked at. And that's perfect for me. That's a success for me, for him to say, man, I want to go hoop. I want to go play basketball. And knowing that I was that unselfish to make sure that he touched the ball. And he was good. I'm not saying, oh, I was better than him, so I need to touch the ball. But no, to make sure he touched the ball and he was able to go do what he wanted to do.
And I admire that too, because I feel like a lot of people that age, in high school too, would probably not make such a move like that. So I credit you a lot for that.
Especially when you're a senior. Yeah. Like, you have the green light. Like, coach won't tell you much. He might say that was a stupid shot, but you got this.
It's not like he's going to take you out.
No. But no, man, he did great things. He ended up writing a book. He's an awesome guy. I love him to death. But I'm glad he was able to go ahead and accomplish his dreams of going to play,
Yeah. So going into college, did you know off rip you wanted to do marketing? No, you didn't know what?
Nope. So I graduated high school with a 3.8, I believe. I was smart. Not to my own horn. But I went to school for nursing originally.
Okay.
Went to school for nursing. My first semester, I had a 4.0. Second semester, my best friend got killed.
Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah. And I malfunctioned, dude. I could not go to class. I was out of it. I was done. I'm like, man, my world is falling down. Like, I don't know what to do. I went on probation because I didn't go to class. I failed. I may have passed one class, and I really don't know how I passed that one because I never went to school. Well, after that, I had to figure out what's next, because something as mind-boggling happened as my best friend getting killed, life goes on, and it took me a while to figure that out. So that next semester, my now wife was actually working in enrollment up front. Well, I had to go fill out the little suspension paperwork and try to get forgiveness and all this and that. And she knew people, so they kind of helped me out. And they let me back in. And I remember her dad telling me, man, he's like, you got to figure it out. What do you want to do? What is it going to be? And then I start thinking, I'm like, all right, nursing school is probably out. Like, I just literally failed every single class. They're not going to let me in. It's not going to happen. Like, what is next? And he did pharmaceutical sales. And I felt like I was good at talking to people. Like I'm
Yeah.
very personable. It don't bother me to have a conversation with somebody. So I'm like, all right, let's just switch. So I went complete opposite side of the spectrum. I went marketing. Um, and then I started looking in concentrations, and there was professional sales. So I went into that, and I felt like it was just so fun. Whereas nursing was just always so serious. It was,
Yeah.
you got to do this. There's so much structure in
Was it hard?
nursing.
Yeah.
It
I hear a
was.
lot of people, all the nursing majors say
It's not hard, but it's very hard to tell a 18, 19-year old that you have to be super duper disciplined and study and not go to Rox's or Renee's because you got to test the next day or you have to test that week. So it's just a lot of time that you have to give up, that you have to be willing to give up if you truly want to be in nursing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise because now I can't see myself being in nursing.
Yeah.
That was just something that I knew. I knew nurses made some money, so
I mean, you're a smart guy, especially coming out of high
I'm
school.
gonna go ahead and jump into nursing, man. I'll get in nursing, and I'll eventually get my doctorate, whatever. But I felt like it was a blessing in disguise because that wasn't my calling.
Mhm.
Well, get into to sales, and I have to do the sales classes where we have to kind of role play a little bit. Not gonna lie, the first one, and there's a mic hanging, and like you can hear yourself talking. The whole class is watching you.
Mhm.
It was a little nerve wracking, and I felt
Yeah.
like, I'm good at talking to people. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about this mic being in my face. I can have a conversation with this teacher until
It happened.
it happened, man. And he was tough. He was tough, but it was everything that you would really run into in sales. He would be this disgruntled customer. And if you don't ask the right questions, he won't talk. So there was a segment in our role play that I asked him something and I was kind of trying to build rapport and trying to sell the product that he had me selling. And he just straight up just looking at me,
Didn't talk.
not saying a word. And he said, yeah, man, that's stupid. And I'm like, all right, what's next? So instead of thinking, I kind of freaked out. I'm just like, all right. But if somebody says something like that to you, like, all right, I understand your frustration. Why do you think that's stupid? And now you start uncovering why somebody thinks this is a terrible idea and why they think it is. It's not even valid.
Yeah.
So he did that, man. He did that to me, and he just shut down. And I didn't even know to ask him, why? Why do you think that that's stupid? And we finished the role play, and after he told me, he was like, why didn't you ask me, why I feel like that's stupid? I'm like, to be honest, I really have no idea. I kind of shut down. I didn't know what to expect after that. I thought you were playing with me. But after that, I got good at it, and I knew all the right questions to ask, and to actually kind of being in sales, sometimes you have to, all the time, you have to kind of shut up and listen and not be afraid of silence. I can ask you a question and you sit there for a minute not saying anything. In all actuality, you're thinking about it and trying to figure out what you need to say and why you're objecting to certain stuff. And if I keep talking, I'm kind of talking myself out of you thinking. You can't even think because I keep talking. So sales is there's so many components to sales, and I feel like I've gotten really good at it, and I'm able to kind of just shut up and listen sometimes, listen to the customer, man. But sales have been a complete blessing because I feel like I'm a little too extroverted to be a nurse. Not that nurses aren't extroverted, but I just
don't see that being you to me.
No, man. I don't want to sit there and I listen.
No offense to the nurses.
No, absolutely not.
Appreciate you.
No, absolutely. They are great. It is phenomenal, what y'all do on a day-to-day basis, dealing with people that have sicknesses and people.
It's just such a dark environment, I feel like.
It is, and I feel like I'm a ray of sunshine, and that's where but nurses bring that to people.
Yeah. True.
They do. There's been several times, and I've been in the emergency room with my mom, man, and she is tough when she is not feeling good. And there was this male nurse, and he was awesome. She was so mad, cursing him, and he was literally just like, saying jokes and stuff, and she looks back at him and she's like, "Boy, I don't want to play with you right now," and she'll bust out laughing. But that's what I mean by
Yeah. It's like you really can't be that mad.
You mad. I get you mad because you're not feeling well. You don't want to play, but that guy, and he didn't stop. He kept playing. And by the end of the night, my mom was like, that really was a good visit. Like, that dude was really awesome. She got his name, and every time she would have to go to the ER, she would ask for him. So I forgot his name because it's been a while, but no, they're superheroes, man. They're all.
Yeah. So I don't want to, if it's a little too touching, but I kind of had a same situation happen to me my freshman year, going into our second semester in the spring. During that break, I had a close friend of mine who also passed away. Do you think that helped you shape your outlook? Because I feel like kind of after that happened, I've kind of had like a different look on life in a way.
Yes. Because being young, you think you are Superman. You are invincible. Nothing's going to ever happen to you. I can't die. I'm going to die when I'm 80, 90, 100.
Yeah.
That was a complete eye opener, man, and a life lesson in itself, because we all live day to day like nothing can happen to us. People are like, oh man, I'm going to take this trip. I'm driving all day. I'm doing this and that, man. The crazy people die from some of the silliest stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Like literally. So that happening to me at such a young age is just like, all right, what am I going to do to make the best life?
Make your mark.
Correct. Like what can I do to make sure his name lives on? Which my oldest daughter, his name was Trey James Scott. My oldest daughter, I promised that my first kid was going to be named after him somehow. Her name is Violet James. So anyway, that was just such an eye opener that you can be anywhere at any time and the craziest things could happen. This is a dude that in fourth grade, the LEAP test, he had a perfect score. This was a great kid. Trey was amazing. And to see something like that happen to him, it's like, dude, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. And you can be riding a bike, or you can be at lunch, or you can be wherever, and anything can happen. I drive all the time, and I'm like, you may not make it home. I may not make it home to my kids. That's correct. So, man, that's why you have to cherish every day, every second you're here. Listen, man, we complain about some crazy stuff sometimes, but there are so many people that have it way worse than us.
Yeah.
So, man, my advice is always to cherish life, man, because I feel like just yesterday I was, 12 years old riding a bike. I'm 30 now.
It goes by so fast.
So fast. And you don't think it will, but man, it flies. Like, I feel like I was just in high school playing basketball, and now people are like, man, you still hoop? No. I play golf. I don't want to I'm not running up and down the floor. When I work at the fitness and I would beat y'all all the time.
I'm about to say that.
To kind of try to stay healthy and in shape. But now, I'm going with my little jog, man. I go jogging, work out, and golf. I can still play.
Yeah.
You probably get 1 or 2 games, but how we used to do, we used to.
And it's no more full court either.
No
one's going full court anymore.
No,
that was like OG prime wellness.
No shot, man. Listen to me. This is how I knew I was getting old, playing with y'all. I never hurt myself in any sports. The most I had in track was probably shin splints, which the athletic trainer would always go off on us, telling us that we're running wrong, we're not stretching, blah, blah, blah. That's why y'all getting shin splints, whatever. Well, playing with y'all, playing basketball. We played for 3 hours, and my team didn't lose, of course. So I stayed on the court. But I remember running down, fast break, and I hear pop. What the hell? So I do my layup, I take off.
And you
I tore my hamstring. I pulled my hamstring. And I'm like, no, I am not playing with these young boys anymore. I actually went back to my high school to the athletic trainer. I'm like, J-Rock, I don't know what happened. I heard a pop. It hurts. I can't do anything. He's like, let me see, boy. And he would always get on me. He's like, yeah, you pulled it. We're going to go. And he knows this because if anything would ever happen in basketball, like he would automatically just put me in a cold tub. And he's like, no, you know what you got to do? I'm like, what? Cold tub. I'm like, so literally, he put me in the cold tub, gave me some stim. He's like, all right, see you back tomorrow. So I went to him, kind of got myself back together. I was walking good. I was fine. I felt like I didn't feel it anymore. Went play again. I didn't learn my lesson. Second game, running down the court. I don't have the ball. I'm not doing nothing, no cutting, nothing. I feel a little pop. What in the world? I'm like, all right, y'all, I'm done. I'm out. Can somebody get in for me? Got in for me. He told me, he was like, dude, you gotta stop. Like, you're not 18.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, don't tell me that. So no, bro, no more basketball on me. I might listen, and if I do play every now and then. I'm not going to no straight 3 balls. That's all you
on the outside.
Oh, that's all you get from me. That's all you get. But yeah, man.
And it's crazy to think about too. I was going to say this before we kind of talked about the wellness. You know, when we're younger, you're always looking forward to like getting older and like, oh, I want to drive. Oh, I want to be able to do this and that. And then now you're like you're older and you just want to go one more time. One more time.
Go back. So I was telling my little brother-in-law the other day, man, he's 16. We went to the barbershop and he has a little mustache coming in, and I'm like, bro, and my cousin's his barber, so I'm like, man, tell him to line your mustache up, man. He's like, man, no, it's barely that. He gonna cut it all off. I'm like, no, bro. If you get him to line it up, grow back. You gonna have a mustache. So my cousin lines it up. I'm like, now it's gonna grow back, and it's gonna grow back pretty thick, probably. It's like, come on, man. That's what I want. I want all that. You got all that. I'm like, no. I said, when I was your age, I thought the same thing. I had no hair on my face. I'm like, man, I want a full beard. I want all this hair on my face is so aggravating. Like, you think it's aggravating? You want that? But man, you gotta, and I don't mind upkeeping it or anything like that. But like, you don't realize when you're 16 years old that, you probably wake up, brush your teeth, put your school clothes on, mess with your hair a little bit, and you're out the door. Well, now you have a beard. That if I don't brush this thing
or put some cream or something on it,
it looks trifling. So I told him, I'm like, all right, you wishing for that now, but when you have that beard, you're gonna be aggravated.
I think this is a little different for me since I went to private school. We had to have a clean shaven, but my hair on my face always grew fast. So like right when we graduated, it was COVID too, so it was perfect time knowing not really going out places. I probably won't shave it ever. But I know you said off camera that your place is in La Plage. I actually get my hair cut in La Plage.
You go all the way to La Plage to get a haircut?
Yeah. Well, my barber, he used to cut hair in Battery. And I'm from Battery.
Okay.
And then probably when I was like a freshman in college, maybe he moved. Something about it. I mean, he's been cutting my hair, shout out Bean, since probably 10th, 9th grade of high school.
So. That's what you do. You got listen, man. That's loyalty. I'm not letting just anybody get in my head.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
I gotta say loyal to your barber. I'm with you. If my cousin left and went elsewhere, I don't know who I would let get in my head.
Exactly.
I might get dreads, man. I might go dreads. I don't know. No, but I get you. I'll follow.
But kind of moving on, tell me about the insurance now and tell me what that's like today. So what's going on with you?
So insurance is great. Insurance is kind of in a rough place right now after Hurricane Ida because the price of everything is going up. So it's a little tough to kind of stay competitive with rates because, everybody's asking for, everybody's looking for the best rate. I want to have cheap insurance. I want to have cheap this. So I usually have a saying to people, man, when it comes to insurance and with Farm Bureau and with me, um, if you go do your taxes, you're not going just in Walmart and get your taxes done.
Exactly.
You go to a CPA, and you pay that CPA for his service. Whereas with me, you get my personal phone number. I'm there basically 24/7. I try to be. I do have 3 young kids, so it is rough, but I usually always answer my phone, especially if it's a client. And I take really good care of people. These other insurance companies, some companies,
Not gonna
you
diss
just,
any in particular.
no, I don't have any to diss. But there's just some companies that, you have to dial this 1-800 number and you have to talk to an operator or talk to a computer.
Yeah.
You don't get that with me. You get my cell number and you talk to me if you need anything and we're going to get it figured out. And that's why so many people are like, yeah, y'all had a little price hike or whatever. I get things are changing. I'm not leaving. I'm staying with you just because you take care of me. But insurance is great, man. And I sell every line of insurance that you can think of. But my big focus is always life insurance. Just because I've been through so much with my buddy passing away. I've had several family members that's passed away that hasn't had life insurance, and our family wasn't able to grieve correctly because of that. So life insurance is just so near and dear to my heart. So that's what I push to people, man, and try to get people to understand that, life insurance is something that you can't get once you need it. You can't, oh, I don't have life insurance. I have 2 kids, but I just been diagnosed with cancer. I have to get life insurance. You can't, you're uninsurable. So that's why I preach that get it while you're young. You're 23. You put life insurance on yourself. It's something that, when you're 30 or you have kids or whatever, you'll appreciate that, because as you get older, the price changes for life insurance. You closer to the end than you were at 20 years old. So that's our deal with life insurance, with insurance. Our company, we're huge on life insurance. If we can, insure your other stuff, that is great. But there is not one person that I talk to that I will not mention life insurance to. And you don't have to switch or anything like that, but I want to at least make sure that you are covered correctly. And when you say life insurance, people just think about, the death benefit of life insurance, but that's not all it is. There's businesses use life insurance for different things, to fund different things. There's policies for key men in your company. If you think about it, you own a business, you and your buddy just got married. If something happens to your buddy, that $1 million business that y'all own, you now have to split it with the wife, who won't do any of the legwork. She knows nothing about the business, but legally you have to split it. People can use life insurance to, okay, we own $1 million business. It's 500,000. If something happens to him, I can pay her half, give her $500,000, and now I don't have to deal with, her trying to make changes to the business or, anything. But life insurance isn't just a death benefit. There's so many different things that you can do with it. So that's what I do on a day-to-day.
And what would be your advice to someone my age? I just graduated, for someone who's going into sales or someone who's going into insurance or something in that area?
So my advice will always be to keep pushing, man. When things seem like life gets hard, or I'm not as successful as I thought I would be at 25 or whatever, keep pushing, because you're the only person that can kind of gauge what success is. You can't, base your success off of anything else. You can't gauge the success of your podcast off of somebody else's podcast having 1 million followers.
Yeah.
I think we talked before that you have 400 something followers on Instagram, and you just started in, when was it?
May 7th.
I feel like that's successful.
Mm-hmm.
That's success. So I just think that it's super important that, you know, your perception of you being successful stays, you know, your deal and not somebody else's.
Mm-hmm. People find it easy to compare to others, and it kind of makes it negative.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, and listen, man, I clap for everybody. I want you to be the most successful person in the world. But then my success, I feel like from where I came from to where I could have went, I feel like I'm the most successful person in the world. And nobody can take that from me. So I guess more of the advice that I would give is to you know, be yourself, find something that you want to do, and, you know, fight every day to do it, and don't take any shortcuts to it. There's no shortcuts. You can sit here and go for your podcast, go buy followers. People do that. You can do that. It's accessible. Those followers won't watch your podcast. Yeah. They'll never see it. So, you know, being authentic, and just keep pushing, dude. And I feel like you'll be a huge success. I'm glad that, you know, I was able to come on here and talk to you. And I'll clap for you, even when you're not looking. When you're looking, I'll clap for you. But I think you'll do great things, brother.
And I truly appreciate that. But moving on, I know you said you got 3 kids and a wife. How do you balance that with work and stuff? I feel like that's got to be very tough at times.
It is tough. And I think that starts with picking the right person to have kids with, and picking someone that supports you. My support system is amazing, from my wife to my family to my buddies. I just have the utmost support, and my buddies are the godfathers of my kids, and they're just always a helping hand no matter what. So if I have to leave town, I know that I can pick up the phone. Hey, Cam, Caitlin's at the house by herself. She doesn't want to leave with the 3 kids. Can you go get them something to eat?
Yeah.
I can call any of them. But then my wife takes so much off of me that I can focus on work. So, and not that she just does everything, so I can sit there and work and not pay any attention to the kids.
Yeah.
But dude, she is a rock star. And I mean, that's about all I can say about it. You can never, it's super hard to balance anything, man. Even with work, it's hard for me to balance, you know, selling car insurance and selling life insurance. There's never a balance there. But with my kids and with the company that I work with, the model for my company is faith, family, Farm Bureau, and they feel like it's in that order. So your faith comes first, and then your family, and then Farm Bureau. Like, they're on the back burner, basically. That's how they make it seem, and it's been true. Anytime, listen, man, I have 3 kids, and they're very close in age, like I said, and I haven't had to miss a doctor's appointment because of work. I haven't had to miss a fall one day. I haven't had to miss anything because my family comes first all the time. And that's why the company that I work for, I feel like, is amazing, because I don't have to worry about, I won't be able to go to Jets basketball game when he gets older because, you know, I have to go to work and work until 5:00. My days are so all over the place, like we were talking about before we started, that, you know, people are kind of on the outside looking in, and I know I'm going all over the place right here, but
no, you're good.
But you know, you'll see me maybe golfing on a random Thursday at 2:00. And other people will say like, man, I wish I had your job, you know, blah, blah, blah. you golfing on a Thursday at 2 o'clock. You're not even working, blah, blah, blah. But they're on the outside looking in. They don't see the sacrifices that I had to make to be able to go golf this Thursday. You don't know if I'm golfing with a client, but I mean, that's just the position that I made sure to put myself in, that I won't ever have to, I guess kind of slave. Now I grind, some days my work day may end at 11 o'clock at night. I may get a phone call at 12:30. I mean, I've gotten a phone call at 1 o'clock because 1 a.m. because one of my people got into an accident and they didn't have a copy of their insurance card. So I got out of the bed to go do that for them. But, people don't see that. So when I am golfing that Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you don't know what I did the day before or before this to be able to go do this. So there's so much stuff that I have to give up, or I may miss family time sometimes. I may have an appointment because I got someone that works in a plant that wants a life insurance appointment. They don't get home until about 6:30. So I go after the office to that appointment. I drop my kids off at school, at daycare at 7 o'clock, 8:30, whenever. Now I go to that appointment. A life appointment sometimes takes 2 or 3 hours. So now I'm getting home at 9:30 and my kids are sleeping. So I didn't see them since 7 a.m. and I've been working all day. That's just kind of a sacrifice that I had to make that people don't see. So that next day when I'm like, all right, I'm clearing my schedule, I'm not doing much, I'm gonna go golf for some me time, and then right after golf I'm going to pick my kids up and spend time with them, because the night before I had to sacrifice and I didn't eat dinner with them. I didn't eat dinner with my wife because I had so much to do the prior day. But that's work, man, and it's great to be with a company like mine and be an independent contractor and work, but at the end of the day, it's my business, so I have to grind as much as I possibly can to keep that business afloat, keep that business where it needs to be so that I can take care of my family and be as successful as I want to be.
That's great. And so I actually have one more question before I get into my last segment, just because you kind of mentioned it when I asked you about the balance. You said that your wife is a rock star, which I'm sure she is. Shout out to her. Do you think nowadays it's a little like kind of hard to find that person nowadays? Or I know it's kind of a trick question and
No,
kind of out of the blue.
I don't know, man. I don't think it's hard. Me and my wife met in high school. So it's a little different for me, but I just feel like it's kind of like my work, man. Like I can be anywhere and I meet somebody that doesn't have life insurance and they need it, or they need car insurance, or there's just this random conversation happen. It's just being able to put yourself in the right situations to find the right person.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's hard, but I think you always kind of have to try to be strategic on who you deal with. I guess, like I said, for me, picking the right partner is everything, and picking the right partner, especially to have kids with and build a life with, is everything. And that's why life has been, so easy for me, I feel like, and not easy, but it's been better for me because I have somebody that is a rock star. So I feel like, you put in your time with someone and not kind of jump into anything. And, some people believe love at first sight. I get married after 6 months, and that is perfectly fine. If you feel like that's it, this is who I want to be with, this is who I want to be committed to, great. But you kind of got to put yourself out there, and find the right person.
Great answer. So going into my closing segment, I ask this every time on the podcast. Why do you enjoy life?
So that's a good one. I want to make you think.
Take your time.
I enjoy life because I'm able to give my kids and my family things that I couldn't have when I was young. which, not to kind of contradict myself, I feel like I had everything. But the only time I went out of state when I was young was to go to a basketball tournament. We didn't go on vacations. We didn't go to Orange Beach or Destin or Texas or anything like that. But now I feel like I have to enjoy it so much and make sure that my kids enjoy it so much, because life is so short. And as you get older, you realize that I may not be here tomorrow. So why not enjoy now? Why not enjoy today? That's a hard question to answer, man. That's a good one though. That's a good one for sure. But I just think there's just so much in life to enjoy, and not, hold yourself in this box and get out. Like, and back then, my mom was scared to drive to Florida or anywhere. She's like, Thibodeau is my thing. That's what I know. I'm staying in Louisiana. I'm not doing any of that. There is so much more to this world than Thibodeau, Louisiana. And I want to make sure that my kids can see everything, and I want to be able to see it with them. And if I can do that for them, then listen, life is great for me. We just came from Tampa, Florida. It's a little deeper than Tampa. And they, at the time of their life, they played on this little video game that was a driving simulator. And now every time we get in a truck, they're like, "Can I drive?" I'm like, "No, you can't. You couldn't even touch the pedals for this darn game, and now you want to drive." But just stuff like that you cherish, man, and you got to enjoy it, because what happens if you just sit here and not enjoy it?
Yeah.
What do? What's the fun in that? Have fun, man. Have fun. Enjoy life. That's about all I got for you.
Those are some great answers, man. I really think this episode is going to hit home for a lot of people. You talked about some great stuff and gave me some great advice. I really appreciate that. But with that being said, we're going to wrap this episode up. Thank you so much again for coming through.
Absolutely, brother.
But with that being said, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're going to keep bringing great episodes out for y'all. And y'all have a great night, day, whatever it is. We love